So we've got this ambiguity which is very quickly clarified with the enjambment, which is then followed up with a simile. And it is the window that is obviously being opened. How disappointing, it's not another bottle of wine, okay? It's the window that is being opened. And the way in which she addresses the condensation on the window is done with a simile. So the way in which Mrs. Midas clears the condensation from the window is being compared to the wiping of someone's brow. And if you wipe someone's brow, that means another person, that's an act of caring, an act of nurturing. And I suppose if we were to think of a kind of stereotypical situation where someone might be in the process of wiping a brow, perhaps this says more about my life than anything else, you'd be thinking about a mother nursing a sick, fever-ridden young child and mopping their brow as they are ill. And it's this sense of caring and nurturing that she's trying to project. And again, this is all adding to this atmosphere of domestic bliss. And then in the final line of the first stanza, we are first introduced to the subject and focus of the poem. So he is the subject of our poem. And where is he? He is standing under the pear tree, snapping a twig. He is standing, engaging with nature. Domestic bliss. You could certainly say that, you could certainly look at the word snapping and say how it mirrors what then, or it foreshadows, I suppose. The right word you do there would be foreshadows. So let's have a look at that in terms of word choice. Snapping has connotations of broken, to break, and that foreshadows what will happen to the atmosphere. So this domestic bliss atmosphere is damaged, it's broken in the following stanza. Now this is the point where she starts to introduce, really quite explicitly introduce this idea of confusion. Now the garden was long and the visibility poor. So she's introducing very quickly the source of her confusion. So the word long does that, and the word poor also does that. So we get to see the scene through her eyes. So she then tries to help explain what she means by this idea that the visibility is poor. If visibility is poor, it means you can't see very well. So she talks about the light to try and explain why she can't see very well. And she describes the light as being, so again, you're thinking back again to this fact that it's late September, it's that time of the year I was talking about at the beginning of the lesson, and she describes the light as being as though the dark of the ground seems to drink the light of the sky. She does this obviously in the way of a metaphor. It's a metaphor. I think if you said personification, you're not wrong, but people aren't the only things that actually drink. Animals also drink, which is why I'm saying it's a metaphor. So the luminosity of the light compared to drinking. It emphasises the fact that she's got an unclear view. Okay? So the garden's long, we can't see particularly well, the light's not helping, and I'm looking at him, and that twig that he has in his hand appears to be gold. Okay, so the garden is long, visibility is poor, the light's not particularly good, but that twig in his hand was gold. And that's the start of the confusion. Confusion, which initially in the poem we can start to rationalise. So at this point we can say, well, it's not metal, it's not actually gold, it's just because we can't see very well, that's why we think that that's what it is. So we rationalise what she's seeing in the exact same way that she rationalised what she was seeing. So this is where we go to our graph, and it's this gold twig that starts us off on our journey of confusion. So we can rationalise it because the visibility is poor and we can't see particularly well. And then he plucked a bit of enjambment, delayed revelation, a bit of stress, all adding to our attention, a pear from a branch. We grew, that's a particular type of pear, and it sat in his palm like a light bulb. So we have this simile. And initially, we think the similarity is the shape. So if you think about a pear and you think about a light bulb, the shape is relatively similar. And that's initially what we think. But then she follows it up with this very confusing short sentence, on, which then reveals to us that it's not the shape that's the similarity, it's actually the colour and the idea that they both emanate light